Hello. Oh, good morning. Just back at it again with the one-take madness, because feel like it makes me feel more human, and also I get too nervous editing videos that go on for too long, editing out all the weird speaking things I do. This is another AITA story. This one is from aggressive-trade 4276. AITA for yelling at my mum when she acted like nothing happened after my dad cheated. So what I'd like to do differently from other people is I like to make assumptions from the title, which, you know what they say about assumptions. They can never be wrong, of course. But yeah, from the title alone, I would call you the arsehole. My assumption is your mum is just dealing with the situation. However, maybe that's not the case. Maybe she doesn't feel safe. Let's roll into the story. This was posted 2 years ago. My parents have a great relationship. Well, that's what I thought before what happened. My 14 female parents usually have friends over and always tell me I'm free to have friends over. So I wasn't surprised when I unlocked the front door and could hear my dad, another woman in the kitchen. Since my dad usually calls my name when he hears me open the door, I thought he probably didn't think I was home yet. So I walk into the kitchen to greet them. My dad, but then I saw it. He kissed this woman on the cheek. This woman that isn't mum. Both of them were turning, facing away from the door, so they didn't see me. Dad proceeded to flirt with this woman until I threw my bag on the ground to get their attention. They pulled apart. My dad called out if it was me. I walked in the kitchen and greeted him. And the woman then I locked myself in the room for the rest of the afternoon. I only came out when my mum came home. I helped my mum put away her things and put her weekly flowers in a vase before turning to her and telling her what I saw. She stayed quiet for a moment and told me she'd take care of it and that I shouldn't worry about it anymore. It's better not be another swinger story. A few days go by and nothing happens. There was no fight, no arguments, no sour faces at each other, no divorce. Nothing that would usually happen to cheaters in movies and stuff. It pissed me off. How my mum could continue to joke with my dad after all he did and still cook for him. Yesterday after dinner when my dad went to bed, I went to her, demanding to know what's wrong with her and how she could go living on her life with a dad who cheated. She sighed and told me to drop it. But I didn't. I asked her why she wasn't getting a divorce, why she was putting up with a piece of shit dad. She glared at me, told me to watch my tone and not to disrespect my dad. Finally, I yelled at her, asking why she was defending him. She told me she'd explain everything once I cooled down. I told my brother, 17, the whole story so he could know the truth about my dad. He seemed really irritated. He told me to shut up and not tell anyone else in the family about my dad. He said that if mum said she'll handle it, she would. I told him she didn't, and they were still acting as if it hadn't happened. He glared at me and told me to calm down and talk to my mum like an adult if I wanted to act like one instead of just yelling at her. He also called me an asshole for escalating the situation and making dinners awkward. I don't think I'm the asshole. Whatever. MITA? My after-school activities got cancelled that day and I didn't let my parents know beforehand. They didn't expect me home early. I'm just going to add a little to the timeline. I caught my dad at Friday after school, told my mum Friday night after she came home from work, waited, then went at my mum Monday night. Wrote this post an hour after yelling at her. Talked to my cousin 12 AM, apologising school Tuesday. I asked my dad about it. He just avoided answering and told me that him and mum would talk to me about it when I cooled down. What do I have to do to cool down? I don't know. Going against what my brother said, I talked to my cousin about it since we're pretty close. Basically, she told me two things. Stop getting influenced by TikTok and Reddit. And they're in an open relationship. I asked she knew that for sure. She told me to give my parents time to explain this. And it took her mum a month before she finally sat her brother down and caught her with a family friend. After asking her, she told me what happened 5 years ago. Never thought my aunt was like that. After sleeping it off, reading everyone's comment, I feel really guilty for yelling at my mum. Okay. Oh, my God. Yeah, this is going to be swingers. But you're young, and they really should have seen this coming. And they really probably should have taken the time to explain this to you. But oh my God. Lost Step Buttons says, great name. YTA, hear me out. Your parents may be swingers or have an open relationship. You don't know. Please cool off. Apologise to mum for yelling at her, and then calmly ask her what is going on. Plenty of anything says YTA. It sounds like you don't actually know anything. You told your mum what you saw, so trust she handled it. There may be an explanation, seeing as a kiss on the cheek is nothing. Your parents could have an open relationship. Maybe your mum cheated first, so your dad gets a hall pass. There could be many explanations. Your mum doesn't seem mad or bothered by it. Then butt out of their marriage. It has nothing to do with you. Except they live with them. Plenty. They live with them. Drowsy says, Droseri says, everyone sucks here. It sounds like your mum and dad have an understanding that you know nothing about. But I think since you've caught your dad in a situation you're clearly not meant to see, it's your parents' responsibility to have a conversation with you. So it may not be kept entirely in the dark, especially because this is emotionally affecting you. Apparently they got a bunch of awards and upvotes for that. Fair enough. NTAOP says, Vane King. To all the people voting YTA, I'm sorry your views on what is in their business is completely screwed. No, I'm not saying the parents should sit her down and explain every detail of the marriage. What they should do, however, is if this is an open relationship, like some of you assuming, you sit her down and explain that to her. Expecting a 14-year-old to drop this because it's none of her business is a messed up way of viewing it. It is her business because guess what? Kids are definitely a part of the family. If you're keeping this a secret and doing their best to hide it from their kids, fine. But it's no longer hidden. This is doing more damage than good by ignoring it. Kids tend to look up to their parents for examples of healthy and unfortunately, unhealthy relationship. Parents need to step up and parent. Instead of ignoring ops worries and feeling about this, mum wants to ignore it and not confront dad on cheating. She should tell her daughter as such. Mum and dad are in an open relationship. Now that's ops. In on the secret, she needs to be told something. Yep, I agree. Especially with that age. 14, guys. That is very young. There's a lot of YTAs here. There's a few, not the AHLs. Even fewer, everyone sucks here. I don't specifically blame op for anything here, but, you know, it all kind of makes sense. There's apparently an update, so let's go to the update. And hopefully everyone's got divorced. No. Update. Am I the asshole for yelling at my mum when she acted like nothing happened after my dad cheated? Hello everyone. I wanted to say thank you guys for all the responses for having to deal with my brattiness. My brother's words. The split judgments were giving me a headache while trying to read everyone's comment, lol. After sleeping off my rage fit and reading some comments, I did come to terms that I was in the wrong. Some people have mentioned my parents could have been trying to come up with the best way to talk to me, which I believe which is true. They've never been good at having heart-to-hearts, so doing what I thought would be good for everyone, I made plans to stay with my close friends and let my parents be. Apologised to mum and left my friends. There was a little arson situation at high school, like an hour before school ended, so we got out early. Sorry? There was a little arson situation at your school. Okay. Oh, I've completely lost track now. A little arson situation at our high school, like an hour before school ended, so we all got out early and I decided to go home earlier. When my parents got home from work, we had our conversation. First, my mum apologised profusely for having me wait and not saying anything earlier. My dad apologised for having me see what I saw. I accepted, but apologised to my mum and said, we weren't planning on... Apologised to my mum again. Mum said, we weren't planning on telling you everything until you moved out. But your idiot of a father always messes shit up. She then told me that what they have is an open relationship, but they never knew what to label it until one of their friends helped. So she also told me that, since they were being honest, it was her who had cheated first and my dad who turned out to be okay. My dad told me that if I had wanted to, they wouldn't have their friends around anymore. I declined that offer since I was already used to seeing them. Never minded the extra people in my house. My brother joined in the conversation and told me the story how he found out about their aunt and their parents' letter. My brother came into a room, showed me an AITA post on his phone. Yes, he found my post. FML. Clear things up, many of you said it was obvious an open relationship. Interesting, this person is 14. They don't really have the most world advice like everyone here. 2, a lot of people took the sentence, never thought my aunt was like that wrong. I wasn't judgy or anything, I was honestly just surprised since I didn't expect my aunt of all people to do that sort of thing. She's pretty conservative. 3, I didn't want them to believe my parents were in an open relationship since I couldn't picture it. 4, mum always tells me a few things, one of them being never let a man make a fool of you, thinking my mum was letting my dad mess around without any consequence was what made me mad. 5, I never wanted a divorce. 6, I reference the movies once a lot. Whatever. Okay, fair enough. I don't think I've got much to say about this, but yeah, that's your answer. glad your parents finally spoke to you about it. And why does your dad keep on messing stuff up? just a bit of humor, I'm sure. Ned Stark Raving Mad says, happy you're in a better headspace, but shook by the sentence. There was a little arson situation. Major Mel says, right, Op just topped it out there like it was a little normal everyday occurrence. Oh my god. Yes, just a casual little bit of arse. Excellent. Mike Noble 91 says, I thought the YDA judgments on the original were kind of harsh and a bit ridiculous. I wouldn't have expected a 14-year-old to know what an open relationship is. I'm glad it all worked out. Yeah, absolutely. And in response, or in relation, what's all the Jebs says, the YDA votes were definitely too hard. Maybe don't get caught flirting with your girlfriend in the family home if you're hiding this stuff from your kids. Duh. And when your kid catches you, maybe tell them the truth instead of letting them think you're a horrible cheater. Yeah, that was very weird to me. Like, how do you sit there and just let your child hate you and stress and they like let their feelings be like that? Are you kidding me? That seems dreadful. Alright, if you've enjoyed this story, there'll be, I hope, another one tomorrow unless I do something stupid again, which is entirely possible given me. No permissions today. You guys can roast me for calling it a custard apple if you want. Bye-bye.